First contact and tension. The vast expanse of space had long captivated humanity's imagination, but nothing could have prepared them for the day when that endless void suddenly became very crowded. It was on a crisp autumn morning in 2047 when the first alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit, its sleek, obsidian hull reflecting the pale sunlight like a cosmic mirror. Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Force stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, her eyes fixed on the looming alien vessel. The ship's hull number, UES 117, gleamed proudly on its side, a testament to humanity's progress in space exploration. Yet, in the face of this alien behemoth, Sarah couldn't help but feel a twinge of uncertainty. "Status report," she barked, her voice steady despite the tension coiling in her stomach. Lieutenant Rodriguez, her tactical officer, responded promptly. "The alien vessel is holding position, Captain. No signs of aggression, but their energy readings are off the charts. Our sensors can barely make heads or tails of their tech." Sarah nodded, her mind racing. First contact protocols had been drilled into every UESF officer, but the reality of the situation was far more daunting than any simulation. "Open a channel," she ordered. "Let's see if they're in a talking mood." As the communications officer worked to establish contact, Sarah's second-in-command, Commander Jack Harper, leaned in close. "What's your gut telling you, Captain?" he whispered. Sarah's lips tightened into a thin line. "That we're in way over our heads, Jack, but we can't let them see that." Before Jack could respond, a crackling sound filled the bridge, followed by a series of clicks and whistles that seemed to defy any earthly language. "The alien transmission. Run it through the universal translator," Sarah commanded, her heart pounding. Moments later, a deep, resonant voice emerged from the ship's speakers. "Beings of the blue world, we are the Zorax. Your planet has been chosen. Prepare for assimilation." A chill ran down Sarah's spine. This was not the peaceful first contact humanity had hoped for. "Assimilation," she repeated, her voice hard. "I'm afraid that's not an option. This is our home, and we have no intention of giving it up." There was a pause, and for a moment, Sarah wondered if the aliens had even understood her. Then the voice returned, a hint of amusement coloring its tone. "Your defiance is unexpected. Perhaps you do not comprehend the futility of resistance. We are the Zorax. Resistance is not an option." Sarah's jaw clenched. "I think you'll find that humans are full of surprises. We don't take kindly to threats, especially not to our home." The alien ship suddenly pulsed with energy, and alarms blared across the Defiance bridge. "They're powering up weapons," Rodriguez shouted. "Evasive maneuvers," Sarah commanded, her training kicking in. "Get us out of their firing arc." The Defiant banked hard, narrowly avoiding a beam of searing energy that lit up space like a newborn star. Sarah gripped her command chair, her mind racing. They were outgunned and outclassed, but she'd be damned if she'd let these aliens waltz in and take Earth without a fight. "Return fire," she ordered. "All batteries, give them everything we've got." The Defiant's railguns roared to life, launching hypervelocity rounds at the alien vessel. To Sarah's amazement, the shots actually seemed to have an effect, creating ripples across the ship's energy shields. "Direct hits," Rodriguez reported, a note of surprise in his voice. "Their shields are holding, but we definitely got their attention." The alien ship turned, its massive bulk pivoting with impossible grace. Sarah tensed, expecting another devastating attack. Instead, the alien voice returned, this time tinged with what sounded almost like respect. "You are more resilient than anticipated. Perhaps we have underestimated your species." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "That's a common mistake when it comes to humans. We're full of surprises." There was a pause, and Sarah could almost imagine the aliens conferring among themselves. When the voice returned, it carried a hint of curiosity. "Your vessel bears markings. Numbers. What is their significance?" Sarah blinked, taken aback by the sudden change in topic. Our hull number. It's how we identify our ships. Each one is unique. Another pause. Fascinating. You individualize your war machines. This concept is alien to us. Sarah saw an opportunity and seized it. There's a lot about us that might surprise you. We value our individuality, our uniqueness. It's what makes us strong. The alien ship seemed to consider this. Your species intrigues us, humans. We had not expected such spirit. Perhaps assimilation is not the only path. Hope bloomed in Sarah's chest, but she kept her voice level. We're always open to peaceful dialogue. If you're willing to talk, we're willing to listen. The tension on the bridge was palpable as everyone waited for the alien response. Finally, the voice returned. We will. Consider your words. Prepare your leaders. We will return in one planetary rotation to discuss. With that, the massive alien ship shimmered and vanished, leaving behind a stunned silence on the Defiance Bridge. Sarah let out a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. Well, she said, turning to her equally shell-shocked crew. I'd say that counts as a successful first contact, wouldn't you? As nervous laughter rippled across the bridge, Sarah's mind was already racing ahead. They had bought Earth a day, but she knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead. Convincing an advanced alien race that humanity was worth more as allies than as subjects. As the Defiant set course back to Earth, Sarah couldn't help but smile. Hull numbers. Who would have thought that something so mundane could intrigue an alien species? It was a reminder that in the vast tapestry of the universe, it was often the small, unique details that made all the difference. The next 24 hours would be crucial. Earth needed to be prepared, united, and ready to show the Zorax exactly what humanity was made of. As she gazed out at the stars, Sarah Chen knew one thing for certain. This was humanity's moment to shine, and they weren't about to let it slip away. Human ingenuity unleashed. As the UEA's Defiant docked at the orbital station above Earth, Captain Sarah Chen felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on her shoulders. The next 24 hours would determine the fate of humanity, and she was at the center of it all. The moment her boots touched the station's deck, Sarah was whisked away to an emergency meeting of Earth's top military and political leaders. The station's conference room buzzed with nervous energy as Sarah recounted her encounter with the Zorax. So, let me get this straight. General Marcus Blackwood, the grizzled head of Earth's combined military forces, leaned forward, his bushy eyebrows furrowed. These aliens were ready to steamroll us, but they got hung up on our ships having numbers. Sarah nodded, feeling slightly ridiculous even as she said it. Yes, sir. They seemed fascinated by the concept of individualized war machines. Dr. Amelia Zhao, the brilliant head of Earth's Xenobiology department, tapped her chin thoughtfully. It makes sense, in a way. A hive mind species wouldn't see the need for individual identifiers. The fact that we do could indicate to them a level of cognitive complexity they hadn't anticipated. That's all well and good, President Ileana Martinez cut in, her voice sharp with tension. But how do we use this to our advantage? We're still grossly outmatched technologically. A silence fell over the room as the gravity of their situation sank in. Then, from the corner of the room, a voice spoke up. What if we lean into it? All heads turned to face Dr. Hiroshi Tanaka, Earth's leading expert in quantum mechanics and the architect of humanity's faster-than-light drive. The elderly scientist stood, his eyes gleaming with excitement. They're intrigued by our individuality, yes. So let's show them just how individual we can be. Let's showcase human ingenuity at its finest. Sarah felt a spark of hope ignite in her chest. What do you have in mind, Doctor? Hiroshi grinned, looking for all the world like a mischievous schoolboy, despite his advanced years. We have 24 hours. Let's use that time to modify our ships, our weapons, everything we can get our hands on. Make each piece unique, a testament to human creativity and adaptability. The room erupted into a flurry of discussion. Ideas flew back and forth, each more outlandish than the last. As Sarah watched, she saw the fear in her colleagues' eyes slowly give way to determination and excitement. President Martinez raised her hands, calling for quiet. "It's risky," she said, her gaze sweeping the room. "But it might just be crazy enough to work. Dr. Tanaka, Captain Chen, you'll lead this effort. You have full authority to requisition whatever you need. The rest of us will prepare for diplomatic negotiations, just in case this works." As the meeting adjourned, Sarah found herself swept up in a whirlwind of activity. The next hours passed in a blur of frantic work and innovative breakthroughs. Dr. Tanaka and his team worked tirelessly to modify the Defiance engines, incorporating principles of quantum entanglement to create a propulsion system that defied conventional physics. "They'll never see anything like this coming." Hiroshi chuckled as he made the final adjustments. Meanwhile, Sarah oversaw the modifications to the ship's weapons systems. Traditional railguns were augmented with electromagnetic pulse generators, creating projectiles that could disrupt enemy systems on impact. Each gun was calibrated slightly differently, ensuring that no two shots would have exactly the same effect. But it wasn't just about military might. Artists and designers were brought in to give each ship a unique appearance. The Defiance hull was adorned with intricate patterns inspired by various human cultures, a visual representation of Earth's diversity. As the deadline approached, Sarah stood on the bridge of the newly modified Defiant, marveling at the transformation. The ship hummed with new energy, each system a unique work of human ingenuity. "Captain," Lieutenant Rodriguez called out, his voice tight with anticipation, "we're picking up readings. The Zorax ship is returning." Sarah took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. "This is it, people. Let's show them what humanity is made of." The massive Zorax vessel shimmered into view, just as imposing as before. But this time, Sarah felt a surge of confidence. They were ready. "Zorax vessel," she broadcast, her voice steady. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Defiant. We welcome you back and are prepared for discussions." There was a moment of silence, then the now familiar alien voice responded. "Greetings, Captain Chen. We are prepared to observe your species further before making our final decision." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "We appreciate your willingness to learn more about us. With your permission, we'd like to demonstrate some of our capabilities." Another pause. "Proceed." At Sarah's command, the Defiant's new engines roared to life. The ship danced through space in impossible patterns, leaving shimmering quantum trails in its wake. Each maneuver was unpredictable, a testament to the ship's unique modifications and the skill of its human pilot. Next came a demonstration of their new weapons. Targets were deployed, and the Defiant's guns sang out in a symphony of destruction. Each shot was different. Some exploded in dazzling displays of electromagnetic energy. Others phased through shields as if they weren't there. As the demonstration concluded, Sarah held her breath, waiting for the Zorax response. When it came, she could have sworn she heard a note of awe in the alien voice. "This is unexpected. Your ships, your weapons, each is unique, yet they function as one. How is this possible?" Sarah's heart soared. They had done it. They had captured the Zorax's interest. "It's who we are," she replied simply. "Every human is unique, with their own skills and ideas. But together, we're capable of incredible things." There was a long pause, and Sarah could almost feel the weight of the alien's consideration. Finally, the voice returned. "We wish to learn more. Your species is unlike any we have encountered. Perhaps there is more to gain from cooperation than assimilation." Relief washed over Sarah like a tidal wave. They had done it. They had turned the tide not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through the very thing that made them human. Their creativity, their individuality, their ability to come together and create something greater than the sum of its parts. As negotiations began in earnest, Sarah couldn't help but feel a surge of pride. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged not just victorious, but with the potential for a new alliance that could reshape their understanding of the universe. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, not by conforming to alien expectations, but by embracing what made them uniquely human. And that, Sarah realized, was the greatest victory of all: alien alliance and human determination. The weeks following the initial contact with the Zorax were a whirlwind of diplomatic negotiations, cultural exchanges, and technological marvels. Captain Sarah Chen found herself at the center of it all, acting as a bridge between humanity and their new alien allies. The Zorax, it turned out, were a collective consciousness species. Each individual was part of a greater whole, sharing thoughts and experiences across vast distances. The concept of individuality, so fundamental to humans, was utterly foreign to them. It was this difference that had initially led them to view other species as simple resources to be assimilated into their collective. But humanity had shown them another way. "Your species continues to fascinate us," the Zorax ambassador, a towering beam of shimmering energy contained within a vaguely humanoid form, said to Sarah during one of their many meetings. "Each of you is so different, yet you function as a cohesive whole. It defies our understanding." Sarah smiled, gesturing to the busy spaceport around them, where humans and Zorax worked side by side. "That's the beauty of it. Our differences make us stronger. We challenge each other, push each other to grow and innovate." The ambassador's form rippled, a sign Sarah had come to recognize as deep thought. "We are beginning to see the value in this approach. Already, our exposure to human individuality has led to unprecedented advancements in our own society." As the alliance between Earth and the Zorax grew stronger, both species benefited. The Zorax shared their advanced technology, helping humanity make leaps in space travel, energy production, and medicine. In return, humans taught the Zorax about art, music, and the joys of individual expression. But not all was peaceful in the galaxy. Word of the human-Zorax alliance spread, and not everyone was pleased. It was a quiet Tuesday morning when the alarms blared across Earth's defense grid. Sarah, now promoted to admiral, rushed to the command center, her heart pounding. "Report," she barked as she entered the room. General Blackwood, his face grim, pointed to the main view screen. "We're picking up multiple warp signatures at the edge of the solar system. It's the Krell Empire." Sarah's blood ran cold. The Krell were notorious expansionists, conquerors who saw other species as nothing more than potential slaves or obstacles to be eliminated. They had been at war with the Zorax for centuries, and now they had turned their attention to Earth. "How many ships?" Sarah asked, her mind already racing through potential strategies. "At least 100 capital ships, Mom," Lieutenant Rodriguez, now her chief tactical officer, reported, with more appearing every minute. Sarah took a deep breath, steadying herself. This was what they had prepared for, what the alliance with the Zorax had been building towards. "Alert the Zorax. Tell them we're activating the Harmony Protocol." As her orders were carried out, Sarah turned to address the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've been training for. The Krell think they can come here and take our home. They think that because we're different species, we can't stand united. It's time to show them how wrong they are." A chorus of determined "Yes, man" echoed through the command center. Sarah felt a surge of pride. This was humanity at its finest, facing impossible odds with unwavering courage. Within minutes, the sky above Earth came alive with activity. Human ships, each one a unique blend of Earth ingenuity and Zorax technology, rose to meet the threat. Alongside them, Zorax vessels shimmered into existence, their energy forms pulsing with determination. Sarah watched from the bridge of her flagship, the UES Unity, as the combined fleet took formation. The Unity itself was a marvel, a ship that symbolized the strengths of both species. Its hull gleamed with individualized markings, while its core pulsed with the collective energy of the Zorax consciousness. "The Krell fleet has entered weapons range," Rodriguez reported, his voice tense but steady. Sarah nodded, her eyes fixed on the approaching enemy. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen. You know your duties. Fight smart. Fight together. Show these Krell bastards what happens when they mess with Earth. Engage at will." The space around Earth erupted into chaos as the two fleets clashed. Krell ships, massive and imposing, fired salvos of energy weapons that could shatter planets. But the human-Zorax alliance was ready. Human ships danced through the battlefield, each one moving in unpredictable patterns thanks to their unique modifications. They struck at the Krell vessels with weapons that defied conventional physics, legacies of the frantic innovations from their first contact with the Zorax. Meanwhile, the Zorax ships phased in and out of normal space, their energy weapons bypassing Krell shields as if they weren't there. The collective consciousness of the Zorax allowed them to coordinate their attacks with inhuman precision, creating openings for the more individualistic human ships to exploit. On the Unity's bridge, Sarah directed the battle with calm efficiency. "Concentrate fire on their flagship," she ordered. "If we can take out their command and control, we can break their cohesion." As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Krell had underestimated their opponents. They had expected to face a disorganized resistance, easy prey for their superior numbers. Instead, they found themselves against a force that combined the best aspects of two very different species. Human unpredictability kept the Krell off balance, never allowing them to settle into a rhythm. Zorax's collective efficiency ensured that every opportunity was exploited to its fullest. Together, they were more than a match for the Krell's brute force approach. Hours passed, the battle raging across the solar system. Casualties mounted on both sides, but slowly, inexorably, the tide began to turn. Krell ships, for all their power, began to fall one by one to the combined might of Earth and its allies. As the Krell flagship exploded in a spectacular burst of energy, a cheer went up across the human Zorax fleet. The remaining Krell ships, leaderless and outmatched, began to retreat. Sarah allowed herself a moment of relief before turning to her communications officer. "Send a message to the retreating Krell ships. Tell them this: Earth is protected. We are not alone, and we are not afraid. If they value their empire, they'll think twice before coming back." As the last Krell ship disappeared into warp, Sarah looked out at the starfield, now littered with the debris of battle. They had won, but at a cost. Yet in that victory, she saw the dawn of a new era. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had forged an alliance that would reshape the galaxy. The Krell had come expecting to find an easy conquest. Instead, they had awakened the sleeping giant. Humanity, with its endless creativity and indomitable spirit, had proven that it was ready to take its place among the stars. And with allies like the Zorax at their side, there was no limit to what they could achieve. As repair ships began their work and the fleet regrouped, Sarah Chen allowed herself a small smile. The road ahead would be challenging, but she had no doubt that humanity was ready for whatever the universe might throw at them next. After all, if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was facing the impossible and making it possible. The battle was over, but humanity's greatest adventure was just beginning. The battle for Earth. In the months following the Krell invasion, Earth and its Zorax allies worked tirelessly to strengthen their defenses. The victory had been hard-won, and no one harbored any illusions that the Krell would simply accept defeat and move on. Admiral Sarah Chen knew that the next attack was not a matter of if, but when. As she stood in the newly constructed Harmony Command Center, a marvel of human and Zorax engineering buried deep within the Rocky Mountains, Sarah couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Holographic displays showed the combined fleet in orbit, each ship a unique blend of both species' technologies. The UES Unity, her flagship, held position at the center, a symbol of the strength found in diversity. "Admiral," a voice called out, pulling Sarah from her thoughts. It was Dr. Amelia Zhao, now head of the Joint Human-Zorax Research Division. "We've made a breakthrough." Sarah raised an eyebrow, intrigued. What kind of breakthrough? Amelia's eyes sparkled with excitement. "We found a way to integrate Zorax collective consciousness technology with human neural interfaces. It could revolutionize our command and control capabilities." Before Sarah could respond, alarms blared throughout the complex. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice crackled over the comms, tight with urgency. "Admiral, we're detecting massive subspace disturbances. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Sarah's blood ran cold. This was it. The Krell were back, and they'd brought reinforcements. "Battle stations," she ordered, her voice calm despite the adrenaline surging through her veins. "All ships, prepare for immediate engagement." As she rushed to the command platform, the main view screen flickered to life, showing a sight that made her heart skip a beat. The space around Earth was tearing open, massive rifts in the fabric of reality spewing forth Krell warships by the hundreds. It wasn't just an invasion force, it was an armada bent on total annihilation. "By the spirits," the Zorax ambassador breathed, its energy form pulsing with shock. They'd weaponized subspace itself. Sarah's mind raced. Their defenses, as impressive as they were, had not been prepared for an assault of this magnitude. But there was no time for doubt. Earth's fate hung in the balance. "This is Admiral Chen to all forces," she broadcast, her voice steady and determined. "The Krell have returned, stronger than ever. But so have we. Remember your training. Trust in each other, and fight not just for Earth, but for the future of all free species in the galaxy. Engage the enemy." The space around Earth erupted into chaos as the combined human-Zorax fleet met the Krell onslaught. Energy beams lanced across the void, missiles streaked between ships, and fighters danced in lethal ballettes. From her command position, Sarah directed the battle with every ounce of skill and experience she possessed. "Concentrate fire on those subspace rifts," she ordered. "If we can close them, we can stem the tide of reinforcements." The Unity led the charge, its unique systems allowing it to navigate the turbulent subspace distortions. Sarah watched as human ingenuity and Zorax efficiency combined in ways she could never have imagined just a few years ago. Human ships unleashed salvos of quantum-entangled torpedoes, their unpredictable trajectories confounding Krell defense systems. Zorax vessels phased in and out of normal space, striking at the enemy from impossible angles. But for every Krell ship they destroyed, two more seemed to take its place. The rifts continued to spew forth enemy vessels, and Sarah could see their defensive line beginning to buckle. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, his voice strained, "our outer perimeter is collapsing. Krell dropships are making it through. They're heading for Earth." Sarah's jaw clenched. They couldn't let the Krell gain a foothold on the planet. Once they were dug in, dislodging them would be nearly impossible. She was about to order a redeployment of their forces when Dr. Zhao's voice cut through the din. "Admiral, the neural interface. It's ready." Sarah hesitated for a split second. The technology was untested, the risks unknown, but they were out of options. "Do it," she commanded. The world around Sarah seemed to fade away as the neural interface activated. Suddenly, she wasn't just commanding the fleet, she was the fleet. Every ship, every weapon, every sensor was an extension of her will. And she wasn't alone. She could feel the presence of the Zorax collective consciousness, merging with her own thoughts, enhancing her abilities beyond anything she could have imagined. With this newfound awareness, Sarah could see the battle in its entirety. She could perceive the complex subspace mathematics the Krell were using to maintain their rifts. And more importantly, she could see how to disrupt them. "All ships," Sarah's thoughts rang out across the fleet, transmitted instantly through the neural network. "New targeting solutions are being uploaded. Prepare to fire on my mark." In perfect synchronization, The entire human Zorax fleet reoriented itself. Weapons charge, each one calibrated to a specific frequency. Fire. A symphony of destruction erupted from the Allied fleet. Each shot, each missile, each energy beam was precisely calculated to interfere with the Krell's subspace manipulations. The rifts began to fluctuate, their edges wavering like mirages in a desert. The Krell, caught off guard by the sudden shift in tactics, found their neat formations thrown into disarray. Ships collided as they emerged from the destabilizing rifts, while others were torn apart by the turbulent subspace energies. Sarah pressed the advantage, her mind directing the fleet with inhuman precision. Human ships darted through the chaos, exploiting every weakness, while Zorax vessels unleashed devastating energy attacks that bypassed the Krell's disoriented defenses. Slowly but surely, the tide of battle began to turn. The rifts, under constant assault from the Allied fleet, began to collapse one by one. Krell ships found themselves cut off from reinforcements, easy prey for the resurgent human Zorax forces. As the last rift winked out of existence, a cheer went up across the fleet. The remaining Krell ships, realizing their defeat, began to retreat. But Sarah wasn't done yet. "All ships, pursue and destroy," she commanded. "We end this threat here and now." The Allied fleet gave chase, harrying the fleeing Krell vessels. Within hours, the last enemy ship had either been destroyed or driven from the solar system. As Sarah disengaged from the neural interface, the full impact of what they had achieved washed over her. They had faced extinction and emerged victorious. More than that, they had proven that the alliance between humans and Zorax was more than just a political convenience. It was a transformative force that could reshape the galaxy. Looking out at the starfield, now clearing of the debris of battle, Sarah allowed herself a moment of hope. The road ahead would be challenging, rebuilding what was lost and preparing for future threats. But they had shown that together, there was no obstacle they couldn't overcome. As the fleet began to regroup and damage reports started coming in, Sarah turned to address her crew, her voice filled with pride and determination. "Today we have written a new chapter in the history of both our species. We have faced our greatest threat and emerged stronger. Let this victory serve as a message to the Krell and any others who would threaten our freedom. Humanity and its allies stand ready. We will not bow, we will not break, and we will always fight for our right to exist among the stars." The cheers that echoed through the ship were not just of victory, but of a newfound unity. Human and Zorax alike, they had forged something greater than either could have achieved alone. And in that moment, Sarah knew that whatever challenges the future might hold, they would face them together. The battle for Earth was over, but the battle for the future of the galaxy had just begun. Triumph of humanity and unexpected friendship. In the aftermath of the Krell's devastating attack, Earth and its allies found themselves at a crossroads. The victory had been hard-won, and the cost in lives and resources was staggering. Yet, amidst the rubble and reconstruction, a new sense of purpose emerged. Admiral Sarah Chen stood before the United Earth Council, her uniform crisp despite the exhaustion evident in her eyes. The chamber was packed, not just with human leaders, but with representatives from across the galaxy. The Zorax ambassador stood by her side, its energy form pulsing with anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sarah began, her voice carrying across the hushed room, "we stand at a pivotal moment in galactic history. The Krell threat has been neutralized, but we cannot afford to grow complacent. The galaxy is vast, and there are undoubtedly other challenges waiting for us among the stars." She paused, letting her words sink in before continuing. "But we have proven something extraordinary. We have shown that diversity is not a weakness, but our greatest strength. The alliance between humanity and the Zorax has achieved what neither of us could have done alone. It is time to take the next step." With a nod from Sarah, the Zorax ambassador stepped forward, its voice resonating through the chamber. "We propose the formation of a galactic cooperative, a union of species dedicated to mutual defense, scientific advancement, and cultural exchange. A murmur ran through the assembled leaders. The idea was ambitious, unprecedented. But after witnessing the power of the human-Zorax alliance, there was a palpable sense of possibility in the air. Over the next few hours, Sarah and the ambassador laid out their vision. A combined fleet, drawing on the strengths of each member species, research initiatives that would pool knowledge from across the galaxy, cultural programs to foster understanding and celebrate diversity. As the council debated, a message arrived that silenced the chamber. A Krell envoy was requesting permission to address the assembly. Sarah's hand instinctively went to her sidearm, but she forced herself to remain calm. "Let them speak," she said, her voice steady. "We can't build a future on fear and mistrust." The Krell representative that entered was unlike any Sarah had seen before, smaller than the warrior caste, with an array of sensory organs that suggested a role in scientific or diplomatic functions. Its exoskeleton bore marks of recent combat, and its posture was one of wary respect rather than aggression. "I am Zaxlaw," the Krell announced, its translator struggling with the alien vowels. "I speak for those among my people who have grown weary of endless conquest. We have watched your alliance with fascination and envy." A shocked silence fell over the chamber. Sarah leaned forward, hardly daring to believe what she was hearing. "You're saying some of the Krell want peace?" Zaxlaw's sensory stalks waved in affirmation. "The defeat you dealt us has sparked a revolution within our empire. Many now question the path of endless war. I have come to learn, to understand how species so different can work together rather than seek to dominate." The implications were staggering. The Krell, longtime enemies of peace in the galaxy, were extending an olive branch. It was an opportunity that could reshape the future of all species. Sarah exchanged a glance with the Zorax ambassador, seeing her own mix of hope and caution reflected in its energy patterns. She stepped forward, addressing both the council and Zaxlaw. "The path to trust will be long," she said carefully. "But if your intentions are genuine, we are willing to take the first steps. The Galactic Cooperative we propose is open to all species who commit to peace and mutual cooperation, including, perhaps, a reformed Krell society." The chamber erupted into discussion, a mix of excitement and apprehension. As the debate raged, Sarah found herself face to face with Zaxlaw. "Why now?" she asked, her curiosity overcoming her lingering distrust. "What changed?" Zaxlaw's sensory organs quivered, a gesture Sarah interpreted as deep emotion. "We saw something we had never encountered before. Humans, with your baffling individuality, working in perfect harmony with the collective Zorax. It defied everything we thought we knew about the nature of strength in the universe. It inspired us." Sarah felt a surge of pride, not just in humanity, but in the alliance they had forged. They had not just defeated an enemy, they had opened minds and changed hearts across the galaxy. As the council session stretched into the night, the framework for the Galactic Cooperative took shape. It would not be easy. Centuries of conflict and mistrust could not be erased overnight. But the foundation was there, built on the unlikely friendship between humans and Zorax, and now extended to former enemies. Months turned into years, and the cooperative grew. Former adversaries became allies, pooling their unique strengths and perspectives. The Krell, true to their word, underwent a cultural revolution, their warrior drive channeled into exploration and scientific advancement. They became some of the cooperative's most enthusiastic supporters, eager to atone for their past. Sarah, now Fleet Admiral of the cooperative's combined forces, stood on the observation deck of Harmony Station, a massive space habitat that served as the cooperative's headquarters. Below her, Earth shone like a blue jewel, while all around, ships of various species moved in harmonious patterns. "Quite a view, isn't it?" a familiar voice said behind her. Sarah turned to see Zaxlaw, now the Krell ambassador to the cooperative. Over the years, an unlikely friendship had formed between them, a symbol of how far they had all come. Sometimes I still can't believe it, Sarah admitted. If you had told me 10 years ago that I'd be standing here, working alongside Zorax and Krell for the betterment of the galaxy, I'd have said you were crazy. Zaxlaw's sensory stalks waved in amusement. And if someone had told me I'd count a human among my closest friends, I'd have eaten them for their insolence. They shared a laugh at that, the kind of easy camaraderie that had once seemed impossible. As they stood there, watching the bustle of activity around the station, Sarah felt a profound sense of accomplishment. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire. It had thrived, bringing together disparate species in a union that promised a brighter future for all. The galaxy was vast, and there would undoubtedly be new challenges ahead. But Sarah knew that whatever came, they would face it together. Human ingenuity, Zorax unity, Krell determination, and the unique strengths of 100 other species, all working in harmony. As a ship bearing the cooperative's emblem, a stylized image of diverse hands joined together, departed the station on a mission of exploration. Sarah smiled. The future was unwritten, full of possibilities. And thanks to the courage, creativity, and compassion of countless individuals across the galaxy, it was brighter than ever before. Humanity had found its place among the stars, not through domination or assimilation, but through cooperation and mutual respect. It was a legacy Sarah was proud to have helped build, and one she knew would endure long after she was gone. The adventure was far from over. In fact, for the Galactic Cooperative, it was just beginning.